Welcome to the Mind Your Business Show. I'm your host, Tony Calloway, your private money godfather. And today, you've all heard those saying that what you don't know can't hurt you. Well, I've got something different for you. So go grab your pen and paper and get ready for some great information. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Tony Calloway, your host of the Mind Your Business Show, the Private Money Godfather. And today's topic is what you don't know can hurt you. Now, as a real estate investor or an entrepreneur, there are a lot of things that you really need to know. Now, because some people don't know certain things, they don't go into business, they don't invest in real estate, and then some wander into it without all the information and facts. So let's take a look at some of the things that are important that you need to know. Now, I've got a private money Godfather-ism, and I always say that there are three things that everybody wants to do. They want to write a book, they want to start a business, and they want to invest in real estate. And so from the standpoint that those are the dreams that everybody has, we want you to understand that even though everybody wants to do it, the fact still remains that 90% of people who start businesses fail. And that's as of 2021, explodingtopics.com. Now, I never really have talked about, so I did a little research on, okay, what's the failure rate for first-time real estate investors? And can you believe it's 95%? And that's per Bigger Pockets in 2018, the last year I could find any statistics. Now, these are dreams, folks, and at the Private Money Syndicate, our goal is to make sure that people power their dreams. Now, if you hadn't heard of Mark Twain, he was a humorist who had this saying that relates to information and things. It says, it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that ain't so. In other words, it's those things that we assume that are correct that aren't, that often cause more problems than anything else. And here's another quote from a business consultant and renowned advisor, Brian Tracy. I love this one. I learned this one back in graduate school. And it is that when a man with experience meets a man with money, the man with money will get experience, and the man with experience will get money. Okay? So from the standpoint that the Private Money Syndicate, we want our experience to be able to help you to power your dreams. So please reach out to us at privatemoneysyndicate.com. That's privatemoneysyndicate.com. Or you can call us at 706-888-3719 and let's power your dreams with private money. So I'm going to get into some of these challenges that people run into under the topic of what you don't know can hurt you. And the first business blunder is not understanding that revenue is not necessarily profit. See, you can't, if you're an entrepreneur, small business person, you can't take every dollar that comes into your business and put it in your pocket and think that I'm making money. You have no idea how many times people say, well, I'm making money, but they're not necessarily doing that because you have to account for all of your fixed costs as well as your variable costs. Your fixed costs are things like your rent, your cable bill or internet service, those kind of things. Those are fixed costs. Now, variable costs are things that vary based on how much business you do. And it might be things like your utilities vary from month to month. Your payroll may vary from month to month depending on how many people you have working with you. So understanding that just because money is coming in, that is not all profit. This is one of the big mistakes that business owners and entrepreneurs make. All right, so let's look at another one. The second one here is not knowing the break-even point for the units of goods and services sold. So now if you've never heard this term break-even point, it's at what point am I breaking even and then after that I'm making profit for my business. So let me give you a very easy example. Let's say that you have a product that you are selling for $2, but it costs you $1 to make and sell it. So the sales price is $2 and one of those is profit, okay, or contribution to profit. All right, so now if you have $10 of overhead, then you have to sell 10 units where you're making that dollar to help pay the overhead. So until you sold 10 units, you have not reached break even. Now, after that point, everything that you make for your business is going toward the bottom line. But if you've not sold enough to break even, then again, just because money is coming into the business doesn't mean that you are making money. All right, What's the third business blunder? Not understanding the need for working capital. Now, what is working capital? And well, here's an example of it. And the question is, how long does it take to turn $1,000 invested in inventory into $2,000 in sales? Well, if I invested $1,000 in inventory and I brought in $2,000, that means theoretically I've got $1,000 that could go toward profit. But how long is it going to take? Let's say that you sold your service on 30-day terms. Well, it's going to take 30 days for whoever you sold it to pay you. But now what else do you have to pay for in the meantime? Do you have to cover payroll? Do you have to pay your rent? Do you have to pay utilities? Do you have to go buy more inventory so that after that's sold through, you can go out and buy and have some more on the shelves ready to go? See, that time frame is what's covered by working capital. And to have access to working capital, it's either you have cash in the bank or you have access to credit or credit lines that you can use to cover those periods of time. So understanding the time that it's going to take for you to cash flow your revenue is really important. Now, number 4 is you don't know how to price your product or service. Now, there's this, in fact, this came from Brian Tracy too, and the saying is, and it's a quote, it's a business joke. It says that we lose $1 on every unit we sell, but we make it up through volume. Okay, that is never going to work. Yeah, that is never going to work. But again, it's the misconception that a lot of business owners have that, okay, I just pick a price. You know, they say, well, I'm going to mark it up because it cost me $1, I'm going to sell it for $2, or because the competition's price is this. You know, everybody's got different metrics. What it costs you to get it, what it costs you to package it, to ship it, all those things go into your cost structure. But now what you can price your product for has a lot of different inputs that cause you to be able to either have a higher or a lower price to maximize your profitability. So now sometimes volume does help you to do that, but the key thing is a lot of times small business people don't know how to price their product. Now the fifth one we have here is you don't keep records. You don't understand or read financial statements. And as I have here an example, it says flying blind. As a former pilot, you know, there are certain instruments that you have in the cockpit of an aircraft that keep you from flying blind. You have your compass to tell you which direction you're going in. You have your altimeter that tells you how high you are or low you are above sea level. You have your artificial horizon that tells you if you're pitched up or down, rolling left or right. And then you have your airspeed. Okay, so that tells you how fast you're going. Now imagine if you did not have your compass and you therefore don't know where you're going. Or here's another big one. Let's just say that you have your artificial horizon, but you don't have an altimeter. You know, a plane, actually, if you think of planes when they're landing, they're pitched up, but they're losing altitude to land. So when you look at a business, you have certain things that as a business owner, you've got to look at and understand. First of those is a budget. You can't just say, I want to spend here and there and anywhere, because again, you could just be without one of your instruments. Okay, your profit and loss statement, sometimes called an income and expense statement or income statement. That shows the money coming in and the money going out and where it's going to. And now your balance sheet is showing if your business is gaining assets or if it's gaining debt, if you're paying the debt down, or if you're losing cash in the bank in the different categories that fall into your considerations for your balance sheet. All of these things are really important for a business owner and entrepreneur to know so that they know where they are in the landscape of business. It's a fluid environment, because otherwise, flying blind, you can fly right into a mountainside, and that ain't what you want to do. The sixth one is they don't know how to sell. You know, good salespeople add tremendous value to any product or service, and selling is about understanding the customer's needs more so than anything else, and how the product or service helps to meet those needs. And let me give you a story that gives you a great example of sales, okay? Now, back in the late 90s, I went to this restaurant in New York, Tavern on the Green. I understand it's not there, but it's right there in Central Park, a 5-star restaurant. And so this was like a dream dinner, right? So the service was awesome. The meal was fantastic, spectacular. And so the wait staff is coming after the main course and saying, well, would you like to have dessert? Well, they give us a dessert menu. And then after that, they say, well, would you like to have a digestif? Now, I have never heard of a digestif before. Like, okay, like what? It's an after-dinner drink. So the guy brings out the drink menu, and so it's got this stuff. He said, might I recommend the Martell Louis XIII? And so I look on this thing, and this drink, now you can Google it, the Louis the 13th, is $80 a shot. Now I'm thinking to myself, I said, now if they're selling this drink for $80 a shot, it's got to be something awesome. And I want this experience. So not only do I get the experience, they come out with a bottle, and he pours the shot into the sifter, which is sitting on a silver platter, and he serves it to me. I mean, this is crazy. Now, just imagine if you were at Applebee's and you saw something. You ain't going to pay $80 for a shot of anything at Applebee's because you don't have the atmosphere. You don't have the surroundings. You don't have somebody making a recommendation and telling you about the qualities of this particular cognac and all this stuff. So that was salesmanship. And that is the most money I ever dropped on one meal in my life. But not only was I served, folks, I was sold. So when it comes to whatever it is your business is about, understand your customer, what they're buying. I wasn't buying food. I was buying an experience. And they made sure that I got it. And as I said, when somebody with experience meets somebody with money, I got the experience and they got the money. But hey, that's what I want you to do for you and your business as well. All right, number 7 here is assuming that being cheaper than the competitors is the best strategy. Now, this is going to blow your mind. All right, so now there are 4 things in marketing. There's product, price, placement, and promotion. So I picked something real simple like bottled water. All right, now the last time I ever thought about this, and it was probably when I was doing this presentation, but the formula for water has not changed since it was made. That's H2O, right? Okay, water is water. So I said, all right, so now what's the number 1 brand of water by sales? Water, and that is Aquafina. All right, so they have a strategy for selling water. And then I said, just Google this. I said, now what's the most expensive water that's sold out there? And there is a bottle of water that sells for $100,000 a bottle. That is Beverly Hills 90H2O. And I thought about that. I said, okay, that, Beverly Hills 90210. Yeah, there's this 90210. So they named this Beverly Hills 90H2O Luxury Diamond Edition. Now think about this. The Beverly Hills has a certain promotional brand identity to it. And now they call it Luxury Diamond Edition, but it's water, folks, and people pay $100,000 a bottle for the same stuff that Aquafina sells for like $1.50. So is there a difference in the product? Is there a difference? The product's the same as water, but how is it packaged? How is it placed? Like I said, all these things go into you determining how you are able to price your product. So having the cheapest water is not necessarily going to make you the best product in terms of sales or profitability. Now, the Private Money Syndicate, our job is to help you to power your dreams with private money. And not only do we provide the capital, but we also provide consultation that can help you to not have some of these business blunders that I just talked about. So you can reach us at privatemoneysyndicate.com, and you can schedule a call and a consultation, or you can just call us directly at 706-888-3719. All right, so let's go on here and talk about real estate. All right, now what are some of the real estate blunders? Remember, 95% of first-time real estate investors don't make it. All right, so the first one is they don't understand market rents. Now, a lot of real estate investors say, well, I want to charge such and such for rent, or I'm buying this property, they were renting the apartment or the house to somebody for a certain price. Well, see, the income that a property generates underlies all the investment assumptions that you make in terms of how it's going to perform. But now you just can't make assumptions, because when lenders are doing their underwriting, they use actual market rent data. All right, so from the standpoint, if you say, I want to rent this because I want to fix it up real nice, and I want to rent this house for $2,000 a month. But now the market rents for the area are $1,500 a month. I don't care what you actually could do or what you think you can do when the underwriters decide whether or not they're going to approve that loan or how much they're going to loan you or any of that stuff. They're going to use the data. If they can get the data, guess what? You can get the data too. So that's one of those things that you really have to know the market rents as a real estate investor. All right, the second point is invalid assumptions about renovation costs. Now, I could go on, I could make a whole episode. Matter of fact, I might do that. I might make another episode about assuming renovation costs. To get to the point here, the level and quality of renovations are strategy dependent. Now, if you're a flipper all right, and you're going to renovate a house to sell to a owner-occupant who, before they went shopping for homes, watched HGTV. They binge watched HGTV. They want their house to look spectacular, right? Well, the finishes that will be required to make it look like that are more expensive and are going to impact the cost. Now, if you're renovating a house for a tenant to live in, you don't have to have marble countertops and fireplaces and things like that. You just have to make it nice, clean, and durable. All right, so understanding that even though you're looking at doing your renovations, they're not all the same. And not only that, but you also need to have a contractor actually make a bid. You can't walk in there with your realtor and they say, oh, yeah, you can fix the place up for, $25,000. If that's the assumption you're working on without any other frame of reference, then you're probably going to be in trouble. And so that's not something you want to do. And now the third one is not understanding how comps work. Now everybody hears the word comps. Now comps is short for comparable sales. Comparable sales. Now the comps for properties are based on a myriad of factors: the bed and bath numbers, the style of the house, square footage, amenities, location, proximity to other comps, and similar properties in the area, on and on and on. But I'll give you a common mistake that some of our clients are about to make. Now remember, if you hadn't heard this before, the private money Godfather says, I have a 0% infant mortality policy. I do not let any clients that come to us, get put out of business on their first real estate deal. It's just not going to do it. So now they go on Zillow, or they have a realtor pull up comps. And so they got this house that needs a lot of work done to it. All right, so now all these comps are houses that have been fixed up, sold to owner occupants, and they have all the nice finishes and stuff. And so they think, well, I can go in here and just, patch holes in the wall, put some new carpet down and paint, and I'm going to be able to, when the appraiser comes out, my property is going to comp to these that have been, fully renovated, spectacular finishes and things like that. No, it's not going to compare to those. It's not going to value as high as those because it's not equal to those in terms of all the amenities and all. If all the other houses in the area have decks and yours doesn't, you don't have a comp. Okay, so please understand, you have to be very discerning when getting the information and data about comps to make sure that you have a good assessment, not only for the purchase and renovation, but if you're going to refinance that house after it's renovated to get your money out or do cash back, you got to have the value there, and so your comps have to be equally comparable, or you've got to reassess the value. All right, the fourth thing is you don't adequately evaluate contractor bids. Now, again, this could be a whole episode into itself. Stay tuned. We'll have one. But it says here that the wrong renovation contractor can break a real estate investment, and the right renovation contractor can make your real estate investment. I mean, as a real estate investor, I learned this the hard way. I actually had a guy who I found out was not doing some of the things, and he just told me straight up. He said, what are you going to do, sue me? And I'm like waist deep in this construction project, and like I said, you've got to be able to understand that you check. Let me just get to the point. You need to check out your contractors. All right, you need to look at some of the work they've done. You need to talk to some of the clients they've had before. If you're like me, you're going to talk to other people in that space who know that person or that particular tradesperson, see what the quality of work is that they do. Now, when I say that the right renovation contractor can make a deal, oftentimes they know the things that you might be able to save money on, or alternatives. For example, I had one contractor who knew that he could go get used appliances that looked pretty nice for a rental property that I was going to do, where I was looking at Home Depot and buying them new. And these looked just like new, and I got the rents and all that was fine. So again, your contractor has a really important role in putting the project into its proper value prospect. And not only that, the time it takes to get the renovation done. We won't get into that, but if you're paying every month interest-only payments on the financing while you're getting the property renovated, that's money that you're spending and money that you are not collecting rent on if it's going to be a rental property, or it's time that you're not on the market to be able to get the property sold. So how fast and how well do they do their work? All those things are things that you need to know, and you don't need to be guessing at it, assuming. You can get the facts, and so getting the facts is really important when it comes to the contractor. All right, the fifth one is you don't understand all the facets of real estate financing. And the one question that everybody wants to know is, what's the interest rate? Well, that's the first and only question somebody asks. They're about to get, I'll call it jack screwed. All right, they're about to miss the boat. All right, I'll give you a case in point. All right, so let's say that somebody says that, and you're not dealing with somebody who's ethically supporting you. They say, well, I want to buy a property and I've got my own cash, right? And I want to pay for the renovation. So they go out and get long-term financing on this property, 30-year mortgage, and they go in, they spend, $25,000, $30,000 fixing it up. Okay, they've got their cash tied up in the property. But they didn't realize that there is a prepayment penalty associated with that long-term financing. And the first year is 5%, and it clocks down over 5 years, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So they get ready to go refinance the house, or they get ready to go sell the house. They got a prepayment penalty that's going to knock off 5% of the value of the outstanding balance of the loan, which is a brand new loan, because they didn't understand that particular aspect of it. Interest rate is not the only facet. There are lots of different factors that go into pricing debt and structuring the debt for a particular financial transaction related to real estate, and that's what we do at Private Money Syndicate, is help you put the right debt structure in place for your project. When you know what you want to do, we know what kind of financing to put in place for you. Now, we've covered the things that you need to know, or just some examples, top 7 for business, top 5 for real estate, assumptions, things that get people all messed up. And as you see here, Woody Allen is a comedian of age, but he had this comedic saying that paranoia is knowing all the facts. Well, I encourage you as a business owner or as a real estate entrepreneur to be paranoid, okay, to know all the facts before you go into your enterprise and endeavor so that you can be successful. All right, so let's look at what we've learned. All right, let's recap. All right, we know that 90% of businesses fail, and that 95% of first-time real estate investors fail. And the biggest reasons are because of lack of accurate information. And this lack of accurate information leads to fatally flawed assumptions. Now, again, we're not saying that you don't make assumptions, but you're making assumptions based on facts and figures, not based on what you think or what somebody told you or what you read in a book or went to a workshop and they said. A lot of things about business and real estate are very specific to who you are, where you are, what specifically you're seeking to do. So what's the fix for that? What's the solution? Do your homework, get expert guidance, and find experienced mentors, folks who've been there, done that, got their hands dirty with it, maybe have scars to show for it as well. And that's what we're able to help you with here at the Private Money Syndicate. And that is because we deal with hundreds of investors, we deal with hundreds of businesses. We've seen a lot, so we know a lot, okay? And we want to share that with you because we're in business with you. We make money when you make money, not just for advice. We are here to help you to power your dreams with private money. So reach out to us at privatemoneysyndicate.com. That's privatemoneysyndicate.com. Or call your Private Money Godfather at 706-888-3719. That's it for today, folks. What you don't know can hurt you. Well, I just told you the things that you need to know that keep you from getting hurt. And so as your Private Money Godfather, I want to be here to support you. Now, if you got any other ideas or if you got any questions, please reach out to us at 706-888-3719, or you can email me directly at tony@privatemoneygodfather.com. And of course, you can go to our website, privatemoneysyndicate.com. Hey, appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. As I always say, if you're going to go in business and stay in business, you've got to mind your business. We'll see you on the next one.